Somehow, some way, the Cleveland Guardians keep taking care of business, and finally, they got a little bit of help trying to track down this last wild card spot.
Tanner Bibee of the Guardians, and you're listening to Locked On Guardians.
You are Locked On Guardians, your daily podcast on the Cleveland Guardians. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome on into a Victory Monday edition of Locked On Guardians. It's been a lot of Victory morning episodes on Locked On Guardians, and welcome on in. This is your only daily stop for Cleveland Guardians content from the majors, the minors, the draft, and everything in between. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team, your Cleveland Guardians every day. I'm Justin Lada. I've been here since October of 2022. I spent 18 years covering the Guardians minor league system, including prospect reports, scouting reports, prospect analysis, and much, much more.
I am Jeff Ellis, one of your two co-hosts, as mentioned. Longtime person on this podcast, one of the first hosts Locked On brought on to talk baseball. For that, I was national writer at Scout and 24/7, focused on prospects and the draft. I was going for my phone to say who the YouTube spotlight for everydayers are, and I realized it's dead, so it is charging. So I will do the YouTube spotlight for all of our everydayers tomorrow. I also want to thank you for making today's podcast your first listen today and every day, wherever it is you get podcasts.
I love being part of your morning routine. We got lots to talk about today. And all week, really, it's going to be a big day. It's going to be a big week for the Guardians. We'll talk about Travis Bazzana's season ending. We'll talk about his first full season in the majors and what to make of that, our takeaways. We'll talk about the Guardians' six-man rotation. Looks great right now. Can they keep it up? We'll talk about the schedule of that. And then we'll talk about the Guardians. How do they keep getting away with this? It's pretty unbelievable, isn't it? Before we get into today's episode of Locked On Guardians, brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, if you're a new customer, you can bet just $5. And if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Download the app today. Quick shout out to Will. I was out grocery shopping on Saturday in the hometown, and Will was out too. And he was like, "Hey, you're from Locked On Guardians." I was like, "Yeah, I am." And we chatted for a little bit. And thanks for listening to Will, and thanks for saying hello. Always fun. Love that. Jeff, who needs Lane Thomas when you got Angel Martinez and Daniel Schneemann and Nolan Jones playing center field, right? And who needs Chase DeLauder when you can just put CJ Kafis in right field? He just hits bombs, right? And Juan Brito, Travis Bazzana, the first overall pick, you don't need him. You got Gold Glover Brian Rocchio playing second base. Oh, Ben Lively, last year's steady Eddie. We'll just plug in Slade Ciccone, and he's going to be great. Oh, Luis Ortiz, he got suspended. You know what? Joey Cantillo, the guy who couldn't stop walking people, he's not going to walk people anymore. And actually, he's going to have an ERA in the threes, which is mind-blowing. And the bullpen's still a different thing. But Cade Smith stepping up to the challenge. I've just lost count at this point on how many guys have gone down and how many things have happened to this team. And it's like coming into the year, we thought Lane Thomas was going to hit second and play center field all year. And we thought Trace DeLauder was going to be up at some point. We thought we'd get Juan Brito or Travis Bazzana at some point. And we thought Ben Lively and Luis Ortiz were going to be cogs in this rotation. And somehow, after all that, and a 10-game losing streak, and a 1-9 stretch, the Guardians are 7 games above 500. They have a better record than the New York Mets. And they are closer to a playoff spot than the New York Mets. I'm sorry, the New York Mets are in a playoff spot right now. I lied about that. But that's just the National League wild card.
Because no one wants to make it in the National League.
No, everybody wants to go golfing in Arizona in October, and I get it. It's nice there in October, so I'm told. My father-in-law goes a lot in October, and I want to go for the Arizona Fall League in October. But I don't know, like who's next, Jeff? Like who do you say? Okay, well, let's take away this guy from the team. No big deal. We'll rebound from that too. Like this is unbelievable. This whole stretch. The Guardians just went 12-5 on a 17-game and 17-day stretch. Came out of it smelling like roses.
Yeah, it's a ridiculous situation. Like there's no two ways around it. And I know you kind of glossed over the bullpen, but it's like on top of everything else,
Nick Enright, Andrew Walters. No,
Andrew Walters, you and I were talking about is like, he's the guy who he might push Gaddis down a role. He might this or that. Like we debated in the offseason Gaddis for Taylor Ward because you had Andrew Walters just sitting there, and it's like, oh, Walters is hurt. And we were like, oh, Trevor Steffen's going to come back this year. No, he didn't. Some guys don't come back from surgery.
Remember Paul Sewald?
Paul Sewald. Yeah. I mean, that was Stephen Vogt's guy. Well, he was vote wanted him. He was the bullpen coach when he was out in Seattle. So like the bullpen, and Matt Festa was probably like a $5,000 buy from the Texas Rangers. Like how much? I know a lot of people hate. He was signed. He was purchased.
The Rangers DFA'd him, and then the Guardians swooped in and made the trade.
That it was. I mean, either way, it's like this is a guy who, had bounced around a few times with the Rangers, and now the Rangers have to be regretting it because as much as people want to hate on Festa, and he's had his moments, like where would you be without him? Like he has really stepped into a study. Like you can't treat him in that Cade Smith role. Don't put him in that. Don't have him come in with guys on. But when he's coming
not
in,
a fireman.
No. Yeah. But when he's coming in and it's a clean inning, he gets the job done more often than not. And like they've had to do that because of all. I mean, Eric Zabrowski, we were really high on, and he's been up and down this year because he started the year hurt and hasn't really got the right.
They haven't had a great lefty this year.
No, Tim Herron like completely imploded. Like that whole bullpen to even be effective as it has been is kind of amazing. And then just to talk about the prospect side a little bit more, you mentioned the Brito with 2 surgeries, right? Chase DeLauder, 2 surgeries. Travis Bazzana, 2 oblique injuries. Like all of those players who were in your upper tier of prospects. Jason Churio was a guy we discussed on the top 10 who's had after his injuries has not looked the same this year. Angel Janao missed time significant. Like they have been just, guys who maybe like, hey, maybe there's a chance this guy could have caught fire and come and help the team or been someone we'd have to discuss. Nope.
You get CJ K. You get George Valera healthy. That's what you get. And he wasn't even healthy to start the year.
He wasn't healthy for half the year.
And then he got hurt again. He got hurt twice.
Yeah.
And not only that, like things are so weird that Daniel Speedo apparently is healthy now. Like this has been just an upside down year. And I'm just amazed that I know everyone's going to say, well, they should be good. They were a playoff team a year ago. They were in the LCS a year ago. Yeah, we didn't talk about David Fry. We didn't even mention David Fry. And by the way, John Kenson, everyone's favorite hero a year ago. He had a big home run this weekend. Good for him. Needed that. I was really pleased to see that because they needed that extra run.
Yes.
But those guys, the David Frys, the playoffs last year, who had the biggest hits in the playoffs? It was Lane Thomas, it was David Fry, and it was John Kenzie Noel. Those guys did almost nothing for you this year.
And
I mean, David Fry somehow has 8 home runs, which blows my mind, but
all or nothing this year with him.
No, but this whole season blows my mind. And again, I know last year's team was good, and they went to the LCS. They should have built off that. There were things that could have happened this year, right? Like, they should, with all the prospects we talked about. I mean, Shane Bieber was supposed to come back and help this rotation out, and they traded him, and he never came back for them either. Like, all these things, this team should be careening towards a 90-loss season right now. I'm sorry. This should be a 90-loss team. Jeff, where do you think this Guardians offense ranks in club history?
Oh, well, I'll make my side point after this, but I imagine it's got to be one of the worst. I think Justin maybe is frozen, so we will wait for him to come back. I'll make my side points. I'll wait for Justin to jump in, jump out here. Two other points on just what a crazy season this has been. One, Jose Ramirez is currently sitting at a sub 130 WRC plus. While that happened in 2023, I mean, this is a player who, for his career, is rocking a 129. So maybe it's not the best example, but Jose is not having quite a Jose-esque year. Stephen Kwan is currently a below league average hitter with a 99 WRC plus. So on top of everything else that has gone wrong, they're 2 most counted on hitters this year. One has been below league average, and the other one is not quite up to his standard. So it's even more of the craziness with this team. But with your freeze there, I don't know if you heard, I assume it's one of the worst of all time.
It is one of the worst of all time. So if we go back to 1990, this is the Guardians' second worst year offensively of all time. The 1991 team had an 85 WRC plus. This team has an 85 WRC plus. That is their 35th worst season in their last 36 years. And that includes the COVID year, which, we can count or not. But this is one of the worst offensive seasons they've had in the last 35, 36 seasons.
Yeah. And
somehow here they are.
And they are. I got to make one point when we come back from the break. One thing that does stand out when we talk about the offseason and the continuation of this. But so stay tuned for that.
We'll talk about that. And one of the reasons why this is working. Well, a lot of interesting things are going on in the NFL. The season is well underway. And FanDuel wants to make sure you are ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, if you're a new customer, you can bet just $5. And if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. And that's going to include a lot of fun things like, Josh Allen, is he going to win MVP? I know he had a rough day. Unfortunately, Joe Burrow is hurt. That's not great either. But there's been a lot of interesting games, and there's 2 Monday night games, so there's lots to look for on Monday night on FanDuel. So if you're ready to play, download the app now by visiting FanDuel.com. To get started, it's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. And this episode of Locked On Guardians brought to you by our friends at Prize Picks, the daily fantasy app where making the right call actually pays off and you can actually cash in. We all make decisions every single day, but it's really nice if one of those decisions led to being paid, right? And that's what Prize Picks does for you. You can cash in on your right picks and decisions. Football's back, so Prize Picks is the simplest and fastest way to get in on the action. Pick more or less on 2 to 6 player projections, and you can turn your takes into real prizes all in less than 60 seconds. These things are really fun to do, and they're honestly really easy because all you got to do is say, hey, is Josh Allen, is he going to throw more than 2 touchdowns? Is he going to score more than 2 touchdowns? Is he going to pass for more than 270 yards? If you think yes, you just select more on those projections. And if you win, you're right. You don't have to do anything crazy and bank those up. So it's really easy. There's a lot of fun ones out there. There's one for Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes. I think that was already passed, but it was under half a passing yard. Those are freebies. All you got to do is over half a passing yard, and you're going to get something right and earn some money. So download Prize Picks today. Use code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONMLB for $50 in lineups after your first $5 play. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. Oh, Jeff's got the rally skull back out, the rally skeleton. Jeff, I muted you because you were loud during the break. But
I was trying to run off and get the because I brought it out during the Rays series, right? And since then they just keep winning, so that felt like it needed a guest appearance real quickly.
The rally skeleton, yes, we're back. Rally Tanner. All right, Jeff, we know what's driving this streak. We know it's driving. What was your other point?
Well, it's the pitching, right? Like this offseason was all about pitching. Every move they made was about pitching depth. After last year and their struggles of starting pitching, they had Messick, they had Peterson, they had some guys they knew they could count on in crunch time, but they went out and they traded for a tease. Yeah, he got suspended, but they went out and added Ciccone. They went out and added pieces that at signing Bieber, all of that was to give them depth because they realized a year ago they didn't have it and they needed it. And right now we're seeing the payoff for all of that depth with what is happening with the 6-man rotation. But in some respects, I know people didn't love this offseason, but I think there's, I don't know if I want to say justification or if they've been proven correct that focusing that offseason on starting pitching depth was a good choice, was the right choice.
Last 14 days, the Guardians have the 5th best starting rotation FIP, 342. They have the best ERA among starters in baseball over the last 14 days at 276. Their starters have thrown the most innings in baseball the last 14 games at 88. The second closest to that is 76.2 innings. And the Philadelphia Phillies, who have a great rotation, even though they don't have Zach Wheeler anymore. So the Guardians' starting pitching is going as deep as they've ever gone the last couple of years. I mean, this is by far, this stretch at least, I should say, is the best we've seen its rotation since the days of the pitching factory of Kluber and Carrasco or Clevenger and Tomlin and everybody else that was in those rotations. I know it hasn't been the whole year. I forgot Danny Salazar, who was actually good for a time. I know that was over a period of a couple of years, right? 2013 or 2014 to 2017, 2018, 2019. This has been 14 days and really just about a month. But this is the best we've seen in a long time. We keep talking about, is the pitching factory back? Are they going to, was it ever a bad pitching factory? Was it just circumstances? No, I think they're legitimately have found something here. I'm not saying the 6-man rotation is the reason for it, but it's worked out really good. I didn't think a 6-man rotation would work because we've talked about it multiple times that a lot of these guys, especially starting pitchers, are creatures of habit, right? You're used to having your 4 days between starts. You throw your bullpen on the third day between starts, and you just build your routine and you get your body ready for that 5th day. And now there's an extra day in between. And they did it this was one of the best moves they've made all year in the season because they did it during the 17-game and 17-day stretch. Was literally one of the best moves they've made all year. Parker Messick is coming up and attacking the strike zone. Joey Cantillo has stopped walking people. I mean, Logan Allen went 5 innings and allowed 2 runs. That was the worst start during the stretch, right?
5 and a third, right? I don't think anyone went just 5. I think he went like 5 and a third or something like that.
Logan Allen just went 5 this week. He just went 5.
Okay. I didn't even say Slade Ciccone didn't walk anyone today, right? After his struggles, like we're seeing a lot of
he did walk one. He did walk one.
Okay.
Yeah, he did walk one, but I was kind of afraid. I was like, well, after Gavin Williams attempted a no-hitter, he struggled for a little bit after to get it back, and he's been good, since he figured out things again. But Slade Ciccone didn't have any no-hitter hangover. He didn't have to throw as many pitches as Gavin did in his, but just unbelievable. I'm going to go back and look and see what the starting pitching has done. So the Guardians started this stretch on August 29th when Seattle came to town, and they took 2 or 3. That was coincidentally the walk-off the night they honored the 95 team. And the offense was the key to 95, but now it's the pitching. And I don't know. The Guardians said they don't know what they're going to do in terms of the rotation coming forward because they have Cantillo on Tuesday for this big Detroit Tigers series. And they haven't really laid out their plans since or what they're going to do after that. But, man, I would be hard-pressed to step away from that at this point. Like, you might as well stick with it. These guys are all pitching well. I mean, okay, so the start of this 17-game stretch, Jeff, we've got Tanner Bibee, 2.45 ERA. Gavin Williams and 3 starts. Gavin Williams, 3 starts, 1.80 ERA. Logan Allen's got a 5 ERA and 3 starts. So that he did allow 4 runs to the Seattle when this run started. After that, it's been dominant. Parker Messick, 2.87 ERA and 3 starts. Joey Cantillo, 0.64 ERA. He has the lowest walks per 9 in the stretch on the team. Slade Ciccone, a 4.73 ERA, which is kind of shocking in 2 starts. That doesn't include today's start, which will obviously bring it down. But, man, it's working. I can't believe Joey Cantillo, of all people, has one of the lowest walk rates among this group during this stretch. Like, Joey Cantillo might have actually found it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll have to see. It's always the danger of like the small sample size and the who he's facing. So I am, looking forward to seeing his next start, seeing if he can build off this, continue to improve overall, and show that this is something to say. But I think it just might also be, him attacking it, right? Like him not nibbling as much, and they sent him down saying like, stop with the nibbling, stop, like start. You have the stuff to attack the zone, and hopefully that's what we're going to see. Like, hopefully we'll see more of the attacking because I think that he has the goods to do that. And, that's, like I said, that's what I'm hoping we'll see more of with him because I think that will lead to more success. But yeah, there's no doubt that the pitching is driving this team forward right now, and specifically the starting pitching more than anything else, which is absolutely needed. They're in the center of this hunt. There's a lot of pathways to actually make it, weirdly enough. And, it's going to be fun to watch. We're watching playoff baseball right now. It's not officially playoff baseball, but it is playoff baseball.
Yeah. Joey Cantillo, by the way, has the lowest ERA on the team of any starter that has thrown at least 50 innings. 3.12 ERA. Now, granted, not a lot of guys have thrown 50 innings. You've got Cantillo, Gavin, Ortiz, Ciccone, Bibee, and Allen. So they've been relatively healthy among starting pitchers. They've only had to, and they've used Kobe Allard as an opener a couple times. But he's got a 3.12 ERA. He has the lowest ERA among that group. If you would have told me, Jeff, coming into the year, now Parker Messick's lower than him too. If you had told me coming into the year, Joey Cantillo in September was going to have the lowest ERA in the rotation, I'd have said, well, this went really wrong. And it could have gone really wrong. Like, Tanner Bibee had his best start of his career over the weekend. That's great to see. I think finally he's getting it back together. But Joey Cantillo, with the lowest ERA in the team this year, that I didn't see that coming as much as I love Joey Cantillo.
Yeah, like I said, I'm just curious to see how the rest of it goes with him. He's always had the stuff. Now, could he be more of a pitcher, less of a thrower? And that's what we're seeing.
We are seeing that, yeah. We'll talk more about prospects. We got to talk about the rotation a little bit more, and we'll talk about Travis Bazzana. His season's over. What do we make of that? That's coming up next on today's Locked On Guardians.
You have probably seen a million ads for hair growth products and thought, sure, like that actually works. There's so many products out there, it's hard to know which ones are actually going to do anything. That's why you should give Nutrafol a closer look. Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement brand, trusted by over, I always get this part wrong for some reason, over 1.5 million people. I don't know why it is. The wording there just trips me up. And it's not just the hype. This is a supplemental, clinically tested, that targets the root causes of thinning and shedding with a proactive approach. Here's what stands out to me. The most important thing here is #1 recommended by dermatologists. Trust the science, trust the people who know what they're talking about. That's what you want to look. That's what you want to know, is that those are the people in the know are recommending this product. That's what stands out to me, and it should stand out to you as well. See thicker, stronger hair with less shedding in just 3 to 6 months with Nutrafol. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering Locked On MLB listeners $10 off their first month subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com and enter the promo code LOCKEDONMLB. That's Nutrafol.com, promo code LOCKEDONMLB.
Appreciate y'all making Locked On Guardians your first listen today, or wherever it is you get podcasts. We love being part of your daily routine. We'd love a new Apple Podcast review if you could be so kind as well. And make sure you're doing that and auto-downloading on audio so you never miss an episode, especially as well as things are going right now. I think you're going to want to get your fix of Guardians talk. They're playing well. Other teams in Cleveland, not so much. So we'd love to be part of your morning routine. If we're not every day, because there's lots to talk about. And hit the bell on YouTube for things like reaction videos. There's a lot of good response to the reaction videos over the weekend, so I appreciate that. We got our regular episodes, and the squad show, I'm told, is returning this week. So if you're into that, hit the bell on YouTube so you'll always also get the squad show right into your notifications as well. Do want to point out real quick about Tanner Bibee's start this weekend. It was the first complete game shutout of his career, the first complete game shutout of the season for the Guardians. It was one of the highest game scores, I think, of all time, or close to. I have to look up what the game score was, but it was one of the high. I don't know how people attribute game scores or how they look at it, but I was told it was one of the highest game scores. I have to go look and see how that actually works. It was
first 9-inning complete game of the year, because he had an 8-inning complete game earlier this year.
He did, yeah. He had a 93 game score. I don't know where that ranks overall, but you can only get 100. Like, it's 93 out of 100. So you start with 50 points. You add a point for each out, and you get
15 points for style, right? That's
yeah. You subtract a lot of points for earned runs. I mean, no walks, 2 hits. He was, 2 hits away from a no-hitter because those were 2 bleeders that just got down. They were not hard hit. And then, he hit a batter in the 9th inning. But, I mean, that was every bit as close to a no-hitter perfect game as the Guardians have had this year. Noticed in that start for Tanner, he was changed the mechanics a little bit. Like, he was a little bit tighter to his body, was not rocking back as much. The glove stayed up a little bit more. I have to look at the pitch mix too, but I think they were emphasizing the cutter again. So he's throwing, 2 fastballs a game evenly instead of going out and throwing his 4-seam as the most used fastball. Now he's got a second fastball that he's using just as much. So it's a 50-50 split among the fastballs. So 35 fastballs, 33 cutters. So when it's an even mix of those two, you keep hitters off balance with that. The changeup was as good as I've seen it all year. He mixed the sinker in, didn't really use the breaking stuff, so it was interesting. But that's the kind of Tanner Bibee you signed a contract for, right? Like, that's the guy you wanted to be your ace. That's why you signed him to that contract. And I'm not saying he's going to have a 2-hit, 10 strikeout shutout every time out, but that's the guy that you wanted to keep in this rotation, in this organization for a long time.
Yeah, and I couldn't help but wonder, it's one of the few times this year we've seen Austin Hedges catch him. It's like how much the Hedgie effect and, his ability as a game caller. And, if you go back and listen to my solo show, I talked about how Bo Naylor is not framing well this year like he did last year. So it's like Hedges is a much, much better framer. So, a lot of those Tanner pitches are close around the zone. If you have a catcher who's able to frame a bit better, just a lot more strikes. It's a lot more, you're getting more with that. And I think that's also some of the effect, and, having a better call and mix. And I know people be like, oh, but the White Sox are trash. I want to point out the White Sox have 1 win less than Detroit in the second half. Cleveland, by the way, 3rd most wins in the second half. I'll just go ahead and throw that out there, tied for 3rd. But yeah, right now the White Sox have 1 less win than the Tigers. Going into Saturday, the White Sox had a better record than the Tigers in the second half. Then the White Sox ran into the buzzsaw that is Cleveland. But, they so, yeah, I mean, the White Sox, and they've got a lot of good young hitters on that team. Sosa and Teal, and we saw a lot of guys who was like, okay. I mean, even Andrew Benintendi is a butcher in the field, but he's been about league average. He's been as good as Quan offensively this year. It's a situation where that is not necessarily a cupcake team as we are used to thinking, as we're kind of focused on. I'm not saying they're a great team, but like they've got some hitters, they've got some guys in there, and for Cleveland to be able to the pitching staff to really shut them down, just I don't know, speaks volumes again. Like it's a team that's playing well in the second half, much better than they were in the first half, and much better than a year ago. And Cleveland just continued to roll.
Yeah, we didn't mention CJ Kafis' 2 home runs this weekend. Mm-hmm. That was fantastic. And you just kind of crapped on Bo Naylor a little bit there, but they don't win this week without Bo Naylor. Bo Naylor got the hit in front of CJ Kafis to score that run on one of his homers, and then he also had the home run that gave him the go-ahead victory.
And the double today, did he knock
the double? He drove in all 3 runs today.
Yeah, he drove in all the runs, didn't he?
Yeah, so literally it was Canada Day, right? Bo Naylor and Cade Smith closed the game out, so it was Canada Day in Cleveland. So I've learned.
How does Rocchio and his game-saving catch figure into Canada in this one?
That's a good point.
That's one of the defense. I mean, was it Arias had one early on that was like fantastic?
The first play of the game was a line drive up the middle, and Arias, snagged
with Mike Tauchman. Yeah, those two up the middle. It's like I can deal with some degrading offense because defensively, you and I were talking about this over the weekend. It's like to me, I'm like, is this the best combo we've seen since Vizquel and Alomar?
See, if you want to be literal and technical about it, it would be the year that Kipnis got hurt and got moved to the outfield, and you got Jose at second and Lindor at short. I think that was as good as Robbie and Omar. But if you're talking like long term, then yeah, probably that's as good as it's been since then. I mean, the plays that Rocchio has been making at second base have been unbelievable. He's hitting worse than Andres Jimenez. I have to go see what he's been doing in the second half, because for a while there, Rocchio was like a really good second half hitter. I think he's cooled off. He's got a 692 OPS, but the defense is it's been otherworldly at second base. I don't even know what the stats are.
And it works because he's got great range, but not a strong arm. Like that was the big knock at shortstop.
Surprisingly, only a 0 at outs above average at second base, but I don't agree with that. I got to tell you that this is one where I'm going to say the eye test passes more than the stats, because the play. I mean, that game today, literally, I don't think it's hyperbole to say that play might have saved the season, because if you lose, if the White Sox tie this game and find a way to win, I know that the Rangers ended up losing and the Astros lost, so you inched a little bit closer that way. That's the help Cleveland got this weekend. But if you don't take advantage of that, right? Let's say they lose and the Guardians don't take advantage of that on them stubbing their toe this weekend, you're running out of games. The Guardians have what? Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. They have 13 games left.
Today was 14.
Yeah, 13 games left. And if you're still 3.5 out with 13 to go, that's you're putting yourself in a tough position. So I know they only gained a game today instead of, that would be one, but it'd be one game the other direction. So I think that play at least save the next 2 weeks for them to remain competitive. Like, their defense has been incredible. Steven Kwan has played a great left field again. I mean, we talk about his hitting, but his defense over the last couple of games,
his arm
continues to be fantastic.
His range is still down, but his arm.
And he knows how to play that left field wall so good. And that's not a whole lot different than Michael Brantley, truthfully. Like, Michael Brantley was really good at playing that wall. He didn't have a lot of range either, but he had a great arm, and he knew how to play the wall. So that's always been a huge, impactful thing too. I wanted to talk about Travis Bazzana today. I feel like we don't have enough time left in this episode to really give it the full attention it needs. Travis Bazzana, the last time we had a show was Thursday night. That's the game he was pulled from. It looks like he ended up getting hurt.
Oblique
I want to say it was, I know this is oblique, but I think the injury occurred in him leaping for a ball at second base. He made the catch, and I think that's where the injury occurred. I don't know for sure, but the Guardians decided to just shut him down. He's on the IL. He will not come back. The Clippers have 6 more games to go. They are not in the playoff race. So Bazzana is done this year. His season is officially 100% over. I guess the good news is it's the other oblique. Like, it's not the same oblique. The bad news is it's an oblique, and obliques are not good for baseball players. But now he's going to go home to Australia. He's going to rest, and he's going to take a load off and come back and train. I know he's going to go to Driveline too. So we'll dive into more of this tomorrow, but I'm not concerned about the injury. Someone on Twitter was like, Chase DeLauder 2.0. I was like, come on, really? Like, Chase DeLauder had an injury in college, and
every year in college.
Injured every year in college, and he came out in his first spring training with the team, the organization, and hurt that same foot again. And then he's had multiple different injuries since then. This is 2 obliques. These are freak accidents. Like, I'm not going there. I'm not worried at all. I'm not worried about anything Travis Bazzana did or didn't do this season. We'll dig more into that tomorrow, I think, on Travis Bazzana. And, Jeff, we have to go back and talk about our 2025 prospect draft. This is what, our 3rd annual prospect draft, I think? We've done 3 of these now.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, 3, 4, and 5. So, yeah, this is our 3rd. We'll revisit how we did in our prospect draft from this year. We'll talk Guardians Tigers, and we'll talk more Travis Bazzana on tomorrow's show.
Thank you for joining us. Remember to rate and review, download daily. It helps. Do your part. Comment below. Tell us what your favorite part of the weekend was. Thank you all, and go Guardians, go.